What's happening, everybody? We back with the Enveonline podcast. You rocking with your host, Deshaun, aka Son of a Jones.
And his partner, CEO of MB, Azar Johnson.
We got a lot to talk about, man. We got a lot. We did a lot. We got some stuff coming up. So for the people that's gonna watch this on the playback, as you know, we cover hip hop, entertainment, fashion, and sports. And we kind of touched on all those things leading into this podcast.
Okay.
Did a little bit of sports. We was hanging out in Jersey, man. Real quick, before we go into this, man, how did you like Jersey, buddy?
I enjoyed it very much.
Shout out to the Exotica Expo, man. That was a very, very dope experience. You know what I'm saying? Got a chance to network with some good people. We got some dope content coming from some production. I want to say production companies and some actors and actresses, man.
Yeah, definitely. You know, let me see something real quick. Let me pull something up. Let me shout out some people too. And we can break it down in certain joints. Shouts out to what you call it, man. Shouts out to Danny 2 times. You know, Miss Danny. Let me just say Miss Danny, because the reality of it is that's how you say her name, Miss Danny. You know, she was cool. You know what I mean? She you know, I'm a fan of her. But she you know, when we met her, she was good people's. You know, she kept it professional as always. You know, clearly a very, very good businesswoman. Or she wouldn't be there. So I gotta shout her out. Looking forward to trying to get at her in the future. Another team I want to shout out is Woe Boys. Definitely shout out to Woe Boys. I think they don't get the credibility they deserve for the work that they put in, especially being from New York. You know what I mean? It's hard for in their industry to be from New York doing what they're doing. So
it's really a West Coast dominated industry.
Yeah, facts.
And they're shining, you know, on the East Coast, man.
And they're shining and they bringing a lot of talent out. So shouts out to them, man. They you know, for what they doing, what they probably going to do, and what they've been doing. If you're a fan of you know, a certain entertainment, you know, adult entertainment, you know,
yeah, 18 and over crowd, man.
Yeah, go check them out.
We're gonna keep it mature, but go 18 and over crowd.
Check out Woe Boys, woeboys.com. Also, my dude Maisie the GOAT. I was saying Mozzie, but it's Maisie. So apologies to you, Maisie. Maisie the GOAT, cool dude, cool brother. We collaborate. We politic for a few minutes. You know what I'm saying? We spoke and, you know, cool down to earth dude. But his thing, when he was, the difference between his booth and everybody else's, and let me tell you, and everybody else had a good booth. Everybody else had an entertaining booth. For the people that was there, and that's where we're gonna start. We'll come back to this later. But for Maisie, it was kind of big for him because he kind of had like a stage. It was like a party. You get what I'm saying?
It was a whole experience.
Right. And it was dope, and the women were dope, and you know the individuals involved were dope. They were all cool, down to earth. He knew what he was doing. Like for anybody that wants to even engage in that and have a booth, when you want to do it on an all-time level, that's what you do. What Maisie was doing. I just wish we could have got the photo camera. You know, we got some footage, but I wish we could have got the all-around footage. And I think that, you know, next time going around, we'll be able to do that. You know, but shouts out to him. You know, he's another one from the Bronx. You know what I mean? And he out there doing what he's doing it big. So salute to him and shouts out to him. And there's one more person I want to talk to about, and I only really met them for a brief moment, but nobody treated me goofy in there when, you know, because we came in there professional and on business. But I did see some of them acting super goofy, and I ain't gonna never name no names unless you make me call out your name. But shouts out to Riley the Rabbit, and I think I'm saying her name, Riley Rabbit. She was like down to earth. From when I met her, she was cool. She kept it 100. She was just an all-time professional. You know, I didn't know who she was until I met her that day. So for her to make that impression that I'm shouting her out, now that's big. That just tells you what type of vibe and aura she has and what type of presence she has. So shout out to her, specifically to her, because she definitely had everybody in that booth was kind of repping and really was on her business. You know what I mean? And just representation too. I don't know about business wise. I'm not involved in the business. I just know that for representation and her vibe and everything, she made an impression. That's all I'm just gonna say.
Definitely. And also, we had a chance to interview an actress from Canada by the name of Jenna Fox. Cool, down to earth. She gave us her time. So salute to her for talking to us, giving us a brief interview. It's kind of hard because, you know, everybody's doing business, background noises. Yeah. But she gave us an interview. Also, shout out to Monet Divine, who's a legend in the adult entertainment industry. Down to earth, gave us pictures, shouted out the brand. Hopefully we can interview her in the future. But she's a legend in the adult industry.
Yeah, salute to her, man. She's down there, and she another one, from Queens. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of New Yorkers that was repping out there, but you would never know that. You would just automatically think they out there.
And the West Coast.
Yeah, they out here. So I hope I'm not blowing nobody up. Just salute because it's New York, and we gonna always love New York. So it is what it is. So that's all.
Jersey was fun.
Yeah.
So that was part of the week. You know, we definitely in sports mode still. So as always, we're gonna talk about sports on here. We got some college football, got some professional football, we got some hip hop topics. You know, we got to talk about your boy Kanye.
Yeah, that nutbag. I don't care how that sounds. He's just what he is.
Yeah, basketball season's in the air. We got college basketball. There's some dope fashion stuff. Before we get too deep in it, I just knocked out a dope interview with Brother Roland and the brothers over at Be Unique. They got their own fashion brand, so I definitely want to shout them out because they gave me their time, did a dope interview to tell their story. You know, hooked me up with some dope merchandise, hat, shirt. They even customizing a jacket. So they definitely got a whole experience over there. Definitely shout out to the brothers over at the Be Unique brand. They got their own brand going, so salute to them. Let's get into the content portion of what we doing.
Right.
So let's talk about CAA football first.
Okay.
We're not going to get too deep into it. Going to briefly go over what's going on this week. So we cover University of Albany as far as media. We cover some other schools too. We bounce around, but our home base is U Albany. They got a rivalry game.
Yeah.
Them versus Stony Brook. Now, to paint the picture, Stony Brook this run recently. So I believe they're 2-5.
Stony Brook?
Yeah.
No,
they're
1-6.
Okay, so they have the same record, but it was a conference run over Maine.
Yeah.
So I believe that propelled them over U Albany. This is going to be a huge game for U Albany. It's a home game for them. It's a rivalry game. What are you expecting to see out of this?
I believe it or not, a lot of people would say this is a game U Albany should win. So let me make this clear, and I'm going to say this in what I expect, because this all goes into it. I don't know what's going on with Stony Brook, but for whatever reason, Ty Lawton, I don't know what his whole situation is. I'll probably go on can reach down there and talk about that, because I don't really see him on there. He was projected to do big things this year, and just something went south with that. I don't know what's going on. To say that now, they put in a new quarterback, because remember last time we saw them week 1, there was a quarterback situation, and it did not look good. So they brought in this kid, McKee, young man McKee, and he lit it up for 18 for 21, 249 yards and 3 touchdowns. In their running game, which is ran by Coach Fiore. Coach Fiore loves running. He ran it 26 times for 96 yards with Cook, their running back. Lawton wasn't the running back. It seems like they found what they're looking for, and it was an experiment through most of the season. So they are now, and I don't know with Maine, because Maine had just pulled 2 big wins. They seemed like they were starting to catch on. It seemed like they should have had an easy game, and Stony Brook had that kid in there, and all of a sudden things changed. So even though it might be a game that U Albany should win, now you're looking at that kid Cook, and that kid, that young man from Stony Brook, and now you're like, well, I don't know if that's going to be a win. Like a Central Connecticut State game, they were supposed to win that game. Same thing with Stony Brook, they're supposed to win that game. We'll see, because I don't think it's going to be easy. But it's kind of like it's the definition of a conference game. Two teams can be horrible. There could be a team that's horrible in the division, but once they're playing somebody in the division that's better than them, they play them, so it ain't the same thing. It's like the 49ers and Rams. The Rams are a better team, but the 49ers play them so many times, they ain't scared of them. So no matter how bad the Seahawks or the 49ers or however low of a level they are to the Rams, not that the Rams are on top right now, but, just saying, it doesn't really matter. They can play them tough because that's their division. So it's like playing your little brother or your big brother. Y'all know each other. So it don't matter. He's not going to beat you up like he's going to beat the other kid up because the other kid ain't used to you. Your own brother see you every day. He used to dealing with you. So it's kind of the equivalent of that. Like, it's just it doesn't matter the records. It's going to be even playing field.
Well, I'm standing 10 toes down.
Oh, Lord.
I'm standing 10 toes down, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pulling for you, Albany win. I got them winning. I'm not going to say how much by a margin. I think it's going to be a good game on both sides. Mm-hmm. As you said, Stony Brook made adjustments, and it showed with the last game. Now we have to see what adjustments you Albany are going to make, hopefully on the defensive end, so they can stop the run. Now we done saw in the last few games that they lost, their run defense was kind of shaky. Were allowing teams to go 30-yard runs, 70-yard runs, 80-yard runs. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping the defensive coach picks up on that, especially since you said Stony Brook adjusted their running game. You do not want Stony Brook coming into Casey Stadium and hitting you with a running game and blowing you out at home. Yeah. That will be the straw that breaks the camel back for this season.
Yeah.
Then you might as well be honest and say the players are just playing for stats at that point, which you don't want to see.
Right.
You want a situation where you learn from your mistakes from the last game, come in pissed as hell that you let Hampton beat you at homecoming. Yeah. And pretty much you gotta avenge the homecoming loss. Let's be honest. Mm-hmm. You gotta avenge that.
Right.
Y'all hung tough for Villanova. That was kind of a game that you lost at the last minute due to a field goal. But y'all got to avenge that Hampton loss. Mm-hmm. So hopefully the defensive coach is picking up on that, and we see better defense on the run. So that's what I'm looking for. I got you, Albany, winning. UA, I'm rocking with you guys.
Okay. I just want to say it's probably, Stony Brook's 1-6 and Albany's 1-6. And I think the thing that was shocking that I didn't realize, Albany hasn't won a conference game at all. So they're 0-4 in the conference. But, and they're at the bottom of the there's nothing else they got to play for. I think if I'm not mistaken, there's, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 games left. They have nothing else to lose. Got 4 games left. There's nothing else to lose. So at this point, do what you got to do. And there's 4 games left, and just went out. You know what I'm saying? Just went out and go out and, because everybody's like, even though because I think it's a girl, not Gurley, the running back,
Todd Sibley.
All right, because I was about to say Gurley. I'm bugging. Sibley, even though he's graduating, this is his last year. There's guys behind him, and there's guys that's on the defense and offense that are playing for next year. So don't think like you're just gonna sit there and I don't think that they are. You can see Albany. They're in every game. Albany could easily be, and people are gonna laugh at this. They could easily be like 6-1 right now if they knew how to close out games.
There was a few games that they literally lost at the last minute. I don't know about 6-1. Yeah. I give them 4-3. Mm-hmm. There was 3. The Hampton game was winnable. Yeah. What other game? Fordham. I was at the Fordham. That was way winnable.
Monmouth was winnable.
Yeah, debatable. But, yeah, I get where you're going with it. So, yeah, I really give them.
They could have won the New Hampshire game.
That game. Yeah. That definitely. So
yeah. Yeah. Okay, not 6-1, 5-2. Let me give you that. They could easily been 5-2. Like they could easily be up there with Rhode Island and Delaware and New Hampshire. They can be right up there with all those teams. So it is what it is, So they'll these last 4 games they're gonna go all out, So No, you worst teams to play the team that has nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Neither one of them got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So shout out to both teams, both sets of student athletes. See you this weekend for the rivalry game. Now let's skip over to NFL land. Now before we hit those topics, I'm looking at social media and I got an audible. So there's a podcast called Speak on FS1, and I'm not gonna say the dude's name, but he's debating right now. He's doing his take, and his take is he has to give it up. Tua is better than Justin Herbert. That's his take, and he's going in right now.
Oh yeah.
And this just popped up on my timeline. So, Mr. Football Guy, is that even a fair argument or a take, or is where would you range that? They're debating right now that Tua is better than Justin Herbert. What do you say?
I don't think so. Not yet. I think I mean he's playing better than Herbert right now, but Herbert's also playing through, I don't know if his ribs are healed, but he's playing with bruised ribs.
Okay.
That's one. Two, I hate to bring, I'm going to bring the race card up. The Chargers fired Anthony Lynn for this guy, whatever his name is. I don't care what his name is. And he just clearly is showing you he don't know what he's doing. So, I mean, they went out and got defensive pieces, and it still ain't working. So, I mean, unlike, and we had this conversation on previous podcasts, Miami went all in. I don't think they had a choice, but they went all in. So right now, yes, Tua is better than Herbert. Yep.
Okay.
He is. But we'll see the body of work at the end. He is right now. But when the body of work is done, I think you'll look at it, depending on what they surround Herbert with. Once they get a coach that knows what he's doing, 10 games, then I think you'll see at the end Herbert's better than Tua.
All right, so let's skip over to the NFL topics.
Can I also put as a side note, there's no way right now Tua should be playing.
That too.
I'm going to say that.
Is he getting a second opinion to play this game?
No, he already played this week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You want to rub that in my face. He played against the Steelers and
No. He
10-16.
He has no business being out there. And I just hope to God that this doesn't come back to bite him. He should have at least been out for, I want to say, at least a month. So he should have been missing the next 4 games. And, whatever. I mean, but we ain't the owners. And we ain't the coach. And for that coach to sit there and say he cares about Tua, he's clearly showing he doesn't. There's no way he would be back on that field if I was a coach. I'd be looking at him like, yeah, I don't think so. So.
Let's skip over to NFL land with our topics, man. You can lead it away.
Okay. So, out of everything, that's the biggest thing. I want to say the biggest topic. You want to start with the biggest topic? Let's start with the biggest topic because I'm looking at, okay. So I think the thing is with the Patriots. I want to say that the New England way is dead. The Patriot way is dead. Some people are going to feel some type of way about that. I really don't care. That's one. 2, I think that is true. I think that everybody is starting, that was part of that Patriot way, is starting to crumble. If you look at
can you break it down? Like
where this is coming from, and you're going to ask me where this is coming from, I'm going to start with Tom Brady because he's a player, and then I'm going to drop down to the coaches. When you look at Tom Brady, right now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 3-4, I think. Mm-hmm. They've lost the last 3 games, which the last game was a little disturbing because they only put up 3 points against the Carolina Panthers team that is clearly just tanking it in to move on to the future, right? So to make a long story short, that's still Tom Brady. And it's like, yo, you only put up 3 points. It's first of all, Tom Brady's 45 years old. Second, he's
45, right?
Yeah.
All right.
He's not all there right now. And we all know why, because of the whole situation with his wife and his kids and that whole situation. It just he don't look like the same guy. And then he's on the sideline yelling at his linemen and, he's doing whatever. I think it's just his time to go. I don't think there's anything wrong. People laugh and they say they want to see Brady fall and all that. And we all say something like that. I'm a Falcons fan. I'm like, I don't want to see him make it. You just don't want to see this. I just would rather you had retired. I just didn't want to see this. So your family and all that whole situation, what you're going through, that's clearly an issue right now. I get what he's going. I don't get what he's going. I can't imagine what he's going through. But I guess the point is that the Tom Brady coming in and, you know, he got into Tampa Bay. He won a Super Bowl. They were competitive. They got in the playoffs. I think it's just time. If you look around, he can't carry a team. And Tampa Bay went out and got you pieces. They brought Godwin back, which was coming from an Achilles tear. He shouldn't even be out there. And he ended up tanking. Julio Jones can't play past one game. You know, Mike Evans, I don't know who he's gonna beat up and blow by, other than when he acted up with Lattimore, and you know he acted a fool with that. They can't run the ball. They can't stop the run. Remember we talked about this with Steelers. So you can't run the ball and you can't stop the run. That's terrible. And you playing Baltimore tonight. Who Lamar Jackson's known for what? Running. What else they known for? Pounding the ball with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. And then on top of that, you got Mark Andrews, tight end. Tampa's defense is not the same. Massacre. So they can't stop the run. And what I feel bad for, who's catching the heat for this, and I'm going to talk about this when I talk about the Patriot Way coaches, who's catching heat for this right now, and I feel bad, is Todd Bowles, a black head coach that is now catching Tom Brady. He's taken over the helm with a Tom Brady that clearly is not focused, that went up to and you know that was another thing about that game that they lost 21-3. That's when he went up to Robert Kraft's wedding. So you went up to Robert Kraft's wedding and you missed a walkthrough. And nobody I think would care if they had just went about business as usual, but you lost 21-3. And you already got drama because you missed training camp for 11 days. This is what I keep saying. It's the Patriot way is, I think that the whole aura, dynasty, presence of whatever was mixed in with that is all gone. Now that's just where I'm going to leave it there with Tampa Bay and Tom Brady. And I think the ending of that part is that Byron Leftwich and Todd Bowles are going to catch the heat for this bad. They're going to catch it bad. And they're going to say, see, that's why we don't hire black coaches. He got the chance and look at what's happening. They're now 3-4. To be honest with you, they should be 2-5. 3-4-7. Yeah, 2-5. Because let's just be honest, the referee gave them the game when Atlanta sacked Brady and was coming back into the game. But we ain't gonna go there. So it's just looking bad on all ends for him. You know what I'm saying? For Todd Bowles, and Todd Bowles is gonna catch the heat, even though we know it's the effects of Brady. That's but we'll leave that there. So we'll move that aside. Now you're going to the Patriot way with the coaches. You see, I'm gonna start with Bill Belichick, right? Mm-hmm. So now his situation is with New England, because New England just got smacked. They ain't get beat, they got smacked by the Chicago Bears with a second-year quarterback of Justin Fields. And the Bears been having problems all year, but they ain't seen like no problems against New England. New England, Belichick, the great genius, and he is a great coach. Because I'm hearing whispers out here, oh, look at his record without Brady. Come on, man. The dude's been around for a long time. He won 6 Super Bowls with Brady, but let's keep it 100. He was a defensive coordinator winning Super Bowls with Bill Parcells, and everybody wants to forget about that. That's one. Now let's talk about the flip side of it. The flip side of it is you have, at this point, been sitting here, and the recent thing, I'm going to start with the recent thing. So he got Billy Zappi. That's the kid's name. I guess he came in for when, oh my God, what is the quarterback's name? What's the quarterback's name now?
14.
For the Patriots. It's right on my head. I just went blank like that.
I got you. Let me look.
Mac Jones.
Okay.
Mac Jones. Okay. So you went in and you broke your neck, and for him, and he's our franchise guy, and then he almost broke his ankle, and then Zappi came in and created a spark. So then on Monday night, you going in against the Bears. You start with Jones, and then you turn around and you put in Zappi in the middle of the game. Why would you do that? So he's going to play 2 quarterbacks at the same time, and it looked bad. And then, once again, his attitude, the game just ended. We're not really going to answer that question. No, you made a blunder. What you decide to do, because you want to go back to your Bledsoe, Tom Brady ways and think that you got 2 quarterbacks and maybe Matt Jones ain't the guy. Listen to me. Stick with the kid, because you already ran Cam Newton out of there, and you ran Cam Newton out of there and then give him not nearly the weapons, that you gave this kid that you running with now. It looks bad for Belichick. On top of that, he brought back in Patricia and Joe Judge, and you all know what they did with the Lions and the Giants. And let's not even go there. And the Lions and the Giants, and let me make it clear, the Lions with Matt Patricia, we can tell how bad a coach he is, because Matthew Stafford, who just won the Super Bowl, when he was going to get traded from Detroit, he said, my only request is don't put me in New England with him.
Wow.
That was the only thing. He said, I don't care where you trade me. Just don't trade me there.
That speaks volumes.
That's how bad it was, okay? That's how bad of a coach he is. He tanked that franchise, and they're still trying to regroup from him and that bozo general manager from the New England Patriot way that was doing it, and they ran his behind up out of there. So and then they replaced it with a dude, and now, that has nothing to do with the Patriot way, but the franchise is still trying to rebound because, what is it? They're 1-5 with Dan Campbell. You know, the guy that was in the press conference talking about biting kneecaps off?
Oh.
Could you imagine a black head coach getting hired and saying that in a press conference? We're going to bite you in the kneecap, and then we're going to get back up, and we're going to bite you in the kneecap again. Just imagine that.
They just say he had mental health issues.
Thank you.
And he need to be
like,
out
yo,
of
this
the
dude
league.
can't come. We can't add this guy in here. He's a little cuckoo. So okay, so we go with that. Then you bring in Joe Judge. You know, he went to the Giants because this is the Patriot way. Everybody wants that Patriot way. Joe Judge, who was a special teams coach that clearly had no business running a franchise and almost destroyed Daniel Jones' career and had everybody looking at Daniel Jones like he didn't know what he was doing. And all of a sudden, look, the Giants are 6-1. Ain't that bad, is it? And let me put it here. You know what the flip side of that is?
Giants.
The Giants and the Seahawks are the 2 teams with winning records playing against each other this Sunday. The only team. The only 2 teams. So that's what happened when they got that Patriot way mess out of there. Now they're in there, and now there's rumors about Matt Jones. I think they're having some type of issues. Really? Well, look at the dysfunction you brought back in there. And they said, well, Patricia was the defensive coordinator. He was the defensive coordinator, man. You got these guys trying to run offense and defensive plays, a special teams coach. I don't know Joe Judge for that. Clearly, they ain't got a good defense because I saw what Chicago did to him. And clearly, you don't know what you're doing on offense because look at these 2 quarterbacks. Belichick better wake up and get them up out of there. Then let me go here. You have the other kid, the other guy from that now is coaching. Josh McDaniels is now coaching the Raiders. And let's be honest, his track record ain't great because of that little cheating scandal he pulled in Denver when he first got hired his first job. Then Indianapolis was going to hire him, and he decided the day before the press conference he ain't want to do that. Let me put that in there because no black coach would ever get another opportunity after pulling some stunt like that. And then somehow the Raiders, after they made the playoffs last year, decided, after they ran Gruden's racist behind out of there, somehow the Raiders decided, well, we need to get better. And we're going to get rid of it. We're going to get rid of him by bringing in Josh McDaniels, right?
How did that work out?
Right. I think they're at the bottom of the conference.
Right next to us, the Steelers.
The Broncos. They're right next to the Broncos. So that's not working out. All that Patriot way is not working out. And let me go here, and I hate to say it because he's a brother. Romeo Crennel. He went to Cleveland, and it was bad because he believed in Brady Quinn. And he went to Kansas City, and it got worse because he believed in Brady Quinn. I'm going to say that again. He went somewhere in 2 jobs and believed in Brady Quinn. No wonder he never got another opportunity. And then there was Charlie Weiss, and I ain't seen him since Notre Dame. So at some point, the NFL has to let go of the Patriot way. I know it looks good because of who's in front of the Patriot way and what it represents of how it looks in the Patriot way, but it's not working. The Rams won the Super Bowl last year without any Patriot way. Okay? The year before that, I think who somebody else won it. They didn't do it the Patriot way. The Giants ain't win no Super Bowl the Patriot way. The Lions ain't win no Super Bowl the Patriot way. The Browns ain't won no Super Bowl the Patriot way. The Las Vegas Raiders ain't gonna win no Super Bowl the Patriot way. And who else? And the Houston Texans ain't gonna win no Super Bowl the Patriot way. So I guess it is. And let me go here. There's a general manager in Houston that comes from New England. I don't know if he's still there because I was hearing that they threw him out. I haven't looked it up because I don't care. But let's be honest. With their mess, they brought in, I forgot the coach's name. I apologize for not remembering these names. The Texans coach last year, who was black, who took the job that nobody wanted because of that whole Deshaun Watson mess. And let's be honest, there was more of a mess in the background that never came to light. But I'm pretty sure come a few years down the line, we'll find that out about that too. Let me make this clear. They brought him in. What was going to happen was, because it's the Patriot way, they were going to get Josh McCown, who's coaching a son's high school football team, because they thought he was a better candidate. They knew because of the whole black coaching thing, it was going to be an uproar. So they got rid of the guy that kept the franchise afloat and competitive. And then because of that big riff, they brought in Lovie Smith. And they got David Mills as a quarterback, which God knows, I don't know what the hell they doing with that. But they're not going to win anything. So that Patriot way ain't working either in Houston. And guess where they're at? In last place. The Patriot way.
Dr. Johnson, we performed CPR for the last 15 minutes. It's been a complete flat line. Can we call time of death on the Patriot way?
Yes.
How long? When did the Patriot way start?
2000 when Brady came in for Drew Bledsoe in the Jets game. And I think that was November. I don't know, November. It was in November, I think, if I'm not mistaken. November, October. 2000, 99, 2000. That's when they beat the Rams in the Super Bowl.
Dr. Johnson, time of death?
2022, October 27th, 7:45 p.m.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Let's get on to the next topic. We still in football land?
Right. Yeah, we can be in football land. We're just not going to do it the Patriot way. You know what I'm saying? Going to do it NBA way and everybody else's way. Oh, I'm sorry. Tampa Bay won the Super Bowl. I guess they did do it the Patriot way. Oh, no, that's right. They had 2 black head coaches. That's not the Patriot way. You can't have 2 black head coaches, assistant coaches, could you?
Ah, damn. You cooking with fish grease.
That's not the Patriot way. Da-da-da-da. Yeah, okay. So, anyway, now on the next one, what else is big in news? I think with Matt Ryan, former Falcon, this caught my attention. So, it's been reported that Matt Ryan has like a separated shoulder, or he has a lot of damage to the shoulder. They came out. Now, we was talking about Jim Irsay before, so follow me on this one. Jim Irsay, he ended up coming out and saying, making some comments. So I'm not going to get to it right now. But the thing is, Matt Ryan, he had a shoulder injury. The coach Frank Wright already came out and said, Matt Ryan's going to be out for a few weeks. We're going to put in Sam Ehlinger, the kid that they drafted this year in the draft. It seems like to me, and they said it didn't matter if Ryan was going to be healthy again or not. They were going to bench him. So he's basically being benched. Doesn't really matter. The injury just kind of moved it fast forward. So what boggles my mind is, though, when you look at it, and they're all putting this on Matt Ryan. And there was reports that Frank Wright told Matt Ryan, look, we failed you. We thought we were doing you a favor, bringing you here. Because, the thing was with Ryan, that Atlanta was ready to start over again. They didn't have the components to keep Ryan at a competitive state. So you let him walk out the door because you got caught trying to go get Deshaun Watson. Let's call it what it is. And then you run over there and you roll with, you trade him to Indy. It was going to look good. A strong running game, a great offensive line. Oh, you got Matt Ryan, so now you're going to get over the hump. And the thing is, it's shocking to me because you would think that at this stage, it's not like they're out of the playoffs. They're in their conference. They're 3-3-1. They're in second place behind the Titans. So it's not like they're in last place and they're 0-5 and 0-5-1 and you're like, oh my God, or 1-5-1. They still have a chance to compete. So you gonna go with this rookie. I don't know why they didn't put Foles in there and try to compete. The owner, who we talk about with Irsay, out of all people, seems to think we need to find out what we can do with this kid, because remember, he came out and just at the end of the last year, and he threw Carson Wentz under the bus. And he was like, yo, we don't want Carson Wentz. He's not the guy to get us over the hump. I'm starting to see with Irsay, the more he talks, the more he's putting his foot in his mouth, and he's making me realize he ain't know what he's doing. And you know what? I'm not really shocked. This is the same, and I always pull the race card. This is the same thing. He ran Jim Irsay out of there because when Peyton Manning got hurt, they didn't have a team. He went 2-14. He cleaned house, right? He brought in what was the guy? I don't who cares who the coach was. He brought in Andrew Luck. And you played you done into Andrew Luck's career because you didn't have an awesome offensive line. Andrew Luck couldn't take the hits anymore, and he retired early. You retired this kid because you didn't protect him, right? So now here comes Matt Ryan. Let me just give you 2 stats. Matt Ryan leads the league in QB hits with 80 QB hits this year. We are only in week 8.
Still got a lot of
That means
football
he's
left.
Getting hit 10 times a game at least.
Wait, is that because of how poor the offensive line is, or
the offensive line? It's been 5 different combinations, and we're only in week 7. Can you? I mean, week 8. I'm sorry.
You about to retire Matt Ryan a few years early,
and I think he's 36.
He's 37.
37 years old, and you're asking us? Could you imagine Brady back there? He would never make it. Are you crazy? So mind you, that, and then let me also go here. He's been sacked 24 times. We're only in week 8, and he's been sacked 24 times. That's more than when Carson Wentz was there last year. And that's different because Carson Wentz is a big boy. He's hard to bring down. So he probably protected that line and hid that. With Matt Ryan, you can't do that. So now they're going to bring this kid in because Irsay says we need to see what we had this kid. Well, you already had an opportunity to see what you had when you had Andrew Luck. And you knew what he was, and you still didn't get off offensive line to protect him. You ran that kid into the ground, and now you're about to run this. It doesn't matter. What they keep trying to do, and they're trying to, it's what you said about Pittsburgh. You keep trying to put Band-Aids on wounds. And now,
to put a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound.
And it worked with Phillip Rivers. They got in the playoffs. They got to the second. They were being competitive. They just, Indianapolis has a team that's ready to win now. So you went and got Matt Ryan because Phillip Rivers said, I'm done, right? They try to do the Jacoby Brissett thing. And I think with Brissett, you were going to have to develop him. Once Andrew Luck retired, you should have just looked into just either rolling with Brissett, because that didn't work. Now you roll with Ryan. That hasn't worked. And now you're going to try to start all over again. So you're basically trying to do something that maybe you should have did 2-3 years ago. You're now restart 2-3 years ago. You're trying to restart something. So now you got to restart that process. I can only think about, if I'm the owner, and this is what they have to think about at the time, what are you going to tell the fan base that's coming out?
That's where I was about to go with it.
Where are you going with this?
Had you would have did what you're supposed to do 2 or 3 years ago, you'll be in a better position now. The fan base, like you said, the ticket sales, the merch, the loyal fans, they're going to be looking like, oh, you want us to start over now? Again? Hit the reset button? Good luck with them ticket sales.
Yeah, because let me be honest, when Jacoby Brissett came in there, that I knew they wasn't going to make the playoffs. And it's not a diss at Brissett. You got to give him, I mean, he's always coming in as the go-between guy. That's why I thought was wrong with Bridgewater. You never made Bridgewater the guy. With these quarterbacks, they can't keep coming in here thinking that, yo, when I make a mistake, you're going to pull me out. I'm not the guy. It's like, yo, just let them focus on being a starter and saying, yo, you are a guy. So unless, it doesn't matter if we go 5-11, whatever, we will learn from this. We'll come back next year, and you got to get better. That's how you're supposed to do it. They kept trying to plug in guys, and Irsay keeps coming out of his mouth, challenging his quarterbacks. I'm like, why would you do that? Why? Even though I'm pretty sure Seattle's happy with the decision they made with Russell Wilson, you never heard them publicly come out and say anything. Do you think that the owner for the Rams is actually, he's not happy with the results of the Rams right now? You think he's going to come out and say anything about Matthew Stafford?
Oh, no.
So that just tells you what type of owner that guy is. That just tells you. And let me tell you, let me tell you, I know for a fact from a known source, the Broncos are not happy with Russell Wilson. The owners are not happy. Let me tell you. But you never hear them talking about it. They just let you speculate.
And this is what we talked on last podcast. You know, that clip we put out that got a few thousand views.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck with that contract. 200 mil guaranteed. The equivalence is he has the Russell Westbrook contract, but just for the NFL. That contract is hard to trade.
Yeah.
Good luck.
It's either you gotta, this isn't, I'm gonna say this again, this ain't Tecmo Bowl. This isn't fantasy. This is real life. You can't just pick and plug players and hope it works out. It's still football. As much as it's a business, it's still football. And I mean, you know, it is what it is, man. So on to our next one, as that's another that mess. So on to the next mess. And I'm gonna say something positive at the end of this. I just don't want this to sound like a random me just dissing. So the Green Bay Packers, now they're in second place. They're 3-4, and they're behind Minnesota, who's 5-1. I think the alarming thing with them right now, it being now we're going into week 8. Green Bay Packers are 3-4, right? They've lost three straight games. And I think what was more alarming is this last game they lost, which was to a Washington Commanders team, which we talked about that before, which is a mess. That whole franchise is a mess. But somehow Washington, and don't let that score fool you, it was 23-21. That's because Green Bay scored near the end of the fourth quarter. And that's why I say don't fool by the score. So Aaron Rodgers comes out and says, you know, guys need to start playing better. And, you know, the receivers need to start. And if, you know, they're not playing better, then they need to be taken out of the game. Wow, that's really interesting. What a great leader you are, Aaron. What a great leader you are. The only reason, and let me tell you, this is one. One, he's not a good leader for just making a comment like that alone. 2, it's your drama. And this is where I was alluding to with Brady. We was talking about in the last skit. You got Brady missing 11 days of training camp. Now, I'm not an NFL pro player, but I could tell you when you miss days of training camp, you
out of sync.
Yeah, you out of sync. Those guys are new. And those kids ain't going to say nothing because they're not in position to say anything.
Come on.
Had that been Devontae Adams,
year player to say something to Brady?
Yeah, that had been Devontae Adams saying something like Aaron Rodgers made that comment last week. Devontae Adams was like, yo, let me talk to you, man. You can get off this field. When you get off this field, I'm going to come say something to you. Like, you telling them that they need to play better. Let's be honest. If I was a kid in there, I would be like, I would come up and I would be like, I'd be on a podium, and when they ask me, and they said, yeah, he said you need to play better, I'd be like, yeah, well, my response is, when the last time you won a Super Bowl? I'll play better when you get us to, when you play like you want, like you want to go to the Super Bowl.
You throwing daggers.
That's the dagger I would have thrown. And then I would have went back in the locker room looking at him. I want the fair one if you think it's that bad, or we can just play better. And if I get traded from this team, you better hope we never cross paths again. Because being that those guys in that locker room, they're good enough to go play somewhere else. The only reason Green Bay's putting up with this because Jordan Love's not ready. Then he said the week before also, he said that the coaching simplifies the offense. It's kind of getting to a point where Aaron Rodgers is like, I don't know why like, y'all just need to go. See, that's where Matt Ryan should go. Go take him there. He'll do fine over there. He'll work with the guys. The offensive line's a little better. Put him over there and let Jordan Love learn. Don't put him there with a quarterback that's like, you know, you drafted Jordan Love. Remember we was talking about with Roethlisberger and Jordan Love, and you know, Rodgers was like, well, they didn't tell me. Who is you? Who is you? We pay you. Yo, we can't be general managers. I'm telling you, we couldn't be general managers. Let me tell you, if we were general managers, even if, let's say you're the owner, and he makes a comment like that.
You see me laughing right here because I already know where you're going with this shit.
Yo, the owner, you the owner, and you be like, yo, Izzo, look at what he said. And I'll be looking at the TV and he made that comment, and he be like, yeah, they didn't tell me. So I call him in the office the next day. I be like, so tell me where you want to go, because you got to go. I'm not your girlfriend. I ain't got to tell you nothing. Matter of fact, last time I looked, you're one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. You can go somewhere else.
Take this check.
Go. Get out. I'll take Jimmy G anytime. He got us in the NFC Championship game. You ain't even got there. And when you do, you flop anyway. So I can just get you up out of here. I can get you up out of here. Every time Aaron Rodgers got something slick to say, you need to look at yourself. You ain't been in the Super Bowl I don't know how long, man. When the last time you been in the Super Bowl?
2010.
That was when he played the Steelers.
And you know, I know because we folded.
This guy, you had all those guys your money is taking up a lot of the cap space, so they can't really go get the guys that they really want. You got Randall Cobb, you got a running game, and you got an okay defense. The defense ain't doing that great. I just don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's doing to make the team better.
Collecting the check.
So, I mean, it's not like, and, you know, I mean, you can go somewhere. The Packers are being held hostage. And what they really don't want to say is, we drafted Jordan Love and he's not ready. So we're just going to put up with Aaron Rodgers, hoping that Jordan Love will be ready the next go around. I think you just need to cut the cord. Just cut it.
Yeah, deal with the rookie quarterback.
Cut the cord.
Deal with the quarterback like we're dealing with them.
You're basically, look at the receivers. The receivers are all draft picks, except for Randall Cobb. In the running game, just get Jordan Love, get a strong running game in the defense, and try to work it out. Devontae Adams ain't there no more. So you might as well just rebuild. You are in the rebuilding stage. You're putting a Band-Aid on with Aaron Rodgers to kind of disguise it. And it's not going to get better. Because Minnesota's going to get better. Well, I mean, they don't have any alarming rate because let's just be honest. You got the guy in Detroit biting off kneecaps, and he's at 1-5. And then you got what's the team? It's Minnesota, Green Bay, and then the Chicago, which they're rebuilding. And they just traded one of their best defensive pieces to the Cowboys. So the alarm is not ringing yet. But I'm going to put it into perspective, and this is all I'm going to say about it. You might as well pull the cord now. Because when you look up, other than Kirk Cousins, which, trust me, as good as they look right now, we'll see if he gets to the Super Bowl. I can't see that right now. Not in the next 3 or 4 years ever, right? Chicago's building with Justin Fields. I think if Chicago is really honest about committing to Justin Fields, they'll be. Detroit, I mean, they're just always a mess. They just, whatever, they just don't want to win. I truly believe that. So, with Green Bay, just cut the cord and just build. Don't deal with them. Any quarterback that has a problem with them drafting their future, look at this. Look at what Pittsburgh's going through. They now have to figure it out because that guy was crying, well, you're going to draft my replacement? Yes.
And as me and you talked off podcast, on podcast,
yeah.
How many years ago was I calling you?
You was calling me 4 or 5 years ago.
I used to live in Long Island when I was
4
calling
or 5 years ago at least.
Now, for context, I haven't been in Long Island since 2016. It's 2022. So we're talking about over 6 years that I was saying you need to draft a backup and let him develop under Ben. 4 or 5 seasons. Mm-hmm. So when Ben says, hey, I'm done, you're not being held hostage.
Right.
You can go. This guy sat under you for 4 or 5 years. Now he knows the offense. He knows the receivers. He got 5 years of experience. Let's go.
Right. Right.
You know who else is being held hostage?
Who?
The Los Angeles Lakers, but we're not going to go there because we don't got time.
Yeah.
God bless to the Lakers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Next podcast.
Next podcast,
we got a lot to talk about.
Oh, yeah. We're going to get on the LA Lakers because they're being held hostage over there.
Yeah. And I just think that at some point we just you're gonna have to cut the cord. And they're trying to hold on to like keeping a winning culture. You're gonna have to cut the cord. They're trying to do what they did with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers sat for like 2 or 3 years. I think Jordan Love has been sitting for like 2 or 3 years. After this year, I would find some way to get him. And I would tell Jordan Love and I would tell Matt LaFleur, who got a job, right? Who let's be honest, let me throw this quote out here. He had a 27th ranked offense when he got hired. Out of 32 teams, your offense was ranked 27th, and they thought you was the man, so they put you in there. You still ain't produced nothing. So let me go here. I would tell LaFleur, you got to get Jordan Love ready because we need to get him up out of here. He has to go. He has to go. If we got to get a in-between guy to get Jordan Love ready, let's do that with Brissett. Let's do that with somebody. I don't know who, Drew Lock. I don't know who else is out there. Because, I mean, the way these owners, they're just throwing quarterbacks away like it's just easy to do. It's not. You're not getting behind them. So, I mean, he's got to go, man. Just do what you got to do. That's all I got to say. I mean, he's being a diva. I don't think anybody's going to miss him when he's retired.
So that finishes our NFL topics. We got a few minutes left before we wrap this up.
No, I mean, don't worry about it. Don't worry about the time. So
okay,
we'll rock out whatever we got to do.
So this last segment, unless we audible and add something, but this last segment, we're in hip hop land.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on social media, you already know where we're going with it. You got to touch on it.
Yeah.
Mr. Kanye West.
Mm-hmm.
Now I got some things to say, but
yeah, you want to go first, or
well, let's just paint the picture. Mr. West has been making a lot of comments, and pretty much he fucked around and he found out. That's it. You know, I can't mute myself. I can't bleep that out. That's instead of me sitting here ranting for 15 minutes, he fucked around and he found out.
Yep. Sure did. Sure did.
Ask me, how do I feel about it, Azar?
How do you feel about it, Deshaun?
Like I said before on the last podcast, I keep saying this word over and over and over and over again. Black capitalism is a hell of a drug.
Sure is.
And I don't feel no type of way of what he's going through. But before you people who's on TikTok writing essays or making video think pieces, oh, you just want to pull him down and you're laughing at him falling. He painted this picture for himself. He made this bed for himself. Not only that, I want you guys to think about something. Everybody's in an uproar about what he's going through. Let me keep it simple. Maybe you're such in an uproar, especially if you look like us, is because you think that we should be holding people accountable like that group is holding him accountable for the things he done said.
Super facts.
Ups. So everybody's in an uproar. Oh, man, you know, y'all happy to see Kanye West fall. No, he's being held accountable. Maybe we should be holding people accountable for when they cross the line on us, including black people. Because he said some things before this that he should have been, somebody should have pulled him in the corner. But you know what I saw on Instagram all day? You're just not as, you're just not as conscious as Kanye. You don't get it. He's playing 4D underwater chess. You're not smart enough to get what he's saying when he said slavery was a choice. You're not conscious.
Facts.
Man, I'm not gonna get into this whole rant, but that pissed me off because 98% of y'all on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube don't know basic 101 Black American history. I'm gonna go there, and don't know the basic history of what happened during chattel slavery to even make that remark, because the remark doesn't make any sense. No matter how you try to flip the conversation, it doesn't make a lick of sense. It's so disrespectful on all different levels. But hey, he's playing 4D underwater chess. How's it looking now? How is Kanye West looking now? The George Floyd thing. You fucked around and found out. Now his family is suing you. Now his family is suing you. People, oh, everybody gets to have an opinion. Not when you're making disparaging remarks because you're taking somebody else's talking points. Let me help you guys out. The whole comment that he was making on the drink champs, talking about, oh, he got hit with the fentanyl. Like, he talks in incomplete sentences. He really sounds moronic to me. It's kind of hard to hear him talk.
It's mental illness.
It's mental illness, but maybe you need to go sit somewhere. And I blame the people that keep
giving them platform.
Giving them platform because they know it's going to go viral.
Yeah.
Shout out to those, platforms. But back to what he's saying, like he's talking, oh, they hit him with the fentanyl. Then he'll jump to another. Like he was talking in weird sentence structures that didn't make a lot of sense. So you took some weird conservative talking points because the doctor has already put a statement out under oath that he didn't die of fentanyl, that he died because the knee was on his neck. That's under oath. Why would you get on a national platform on Drink Champs and try to paint this narrative from a conservative talking point that you probably got from Candace Owens talking about fentanyl and this, that, and the third?
Yeah.
And now the family is about to get you for $250 million because you wanted to listen to Candace Owens. You fucked around.
Who will duck and dodge?
You fucked around, and now you're finding out. Yeah. So congratulations, you played yourself.
Yeah.
Shout out to all you 4D underwater chess players that just gets the genius of Kanye West because you're so conscious and you watched the Hidden Colors DVD one time.
Yeah.
Anyways, so to you.
I think from my angle, well, number one, the George. Let me say this, and this is not a shot at, because I'm happy that they won the award. Drink Champs won that award for the best podcast. They deserved it, right? This is sometimes, though, where I kind of feel, remember me and you talked about this off record, and I won't say some of the things I really feel. I'll leave that for another day. It's not that I don't want to say it. This is where sometimes when this is what you do, kind of rides into what you think you are. So meaning not to say that you're not a journalist, but that wasn't where your heart was at. And if you come from a journalistic background, and you come from where we come from, you know not to put that out there. You wouldn't even put him on a mic.
Let me interject.
Mm-hmm.
What is Nori?
He's black and Spanish.
Black and Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
You should know basic Black American history from the people you hung around and, stuff you claim, yada, yada, yada. But when people are making these points on your platform, where's the pushback? Where's the journalistic integrity? Where's the challenge points? You're just sitting there looking smoked out. Oh, okay. And then he made some weird statement afterwards, and then made some statement when he called in on the Breakfast Club. Where is the pushback when people, this is what I said in the beginning, maybe people are so outraged because we're watching what they're doing, holding him accountable, saying this is what we should have done. This is what you should have done, Nori. As soon as he started out his mouth, Kanye, I love you as a brother, but you can say what you want to say. You have your point of view, but what you're saying is incorrect.
Yeah, but this is the thing. And I one thing Dame Dasher made a comment, and I agree with everything you're saying. Let me say that. Like, he shouldn't have a mic. I'm not saying hold his speech. I believe in freedom to say whatever you want, but you ain't gonna say it over here. I don't want you over here. Let's just hypothetically say he gave us the opportunity to say, yo, you guys is like, you're pretty reputable. Like, Wallow and Gilly would never put him on there. They'd be like, yo, no. Like, we already see what you speaking. We don't want nothing to do with that. The fact that first of all, let me make this clear. That tells you what those companies really think about us. And I'm gonna tell you why. When he said slavery was a choice, I didn't see Adidas cut his deal.
Nope.
I didn't see the bank that said we don't agree with you. They didn't do that then.
Nope.
So I don't really care what their feelings are about what he said. That's not me being insensitive. It's just when he said slavery wasn't a choice, you didn't seem to want to stop his designs then. You didn't want to stop his money bank then. Def Jam didn't want to cut him then. Nobody wanted to do nothing. It was until he started talking about people that didn't look like us that it started becoming a problem. Oh, you out of line now. We got to put you in your place. So I think that's what's really resonating to me. And if that wasn't a smack me in my face wake-up call, which I already knew what it was, that was like pure blatant, we don't really care if you talk about them, but if you talk about us, we are done. And it tells you about...
What should that show us on our end?
That shows that we should do the same thing.
That's where I'm going with
and it shows also of what the financial and maybe power that we're looking for, that's maybe we should strive for right now. Because there's no way in hell that we should be...
This is where I got a little pushback. I understand what you're saying, but remember what I keep saying. Black capitalism, you're trying to use the tools to dismantle their house.
Yeah.
Can I ask you something? Is Kanye in his early 30s or is he in his mid 40s?
I think he's early 30s. Isn't
No,
yeah.
He's in. That was a trick question. He's in his mid 40s.
Okay.
Kanye West ain't young. He's been in the game over 20 years. Mm-hmm. His pockets ain't young neither. Mm-hmm. Here's where I'm going with this. You've been in the game for 20 years, not just in hip hop, but you've been in fashion for quite a while too. You traveled all over the world. I'm pretty sure you made some connections. You're talking about you got liquid, at least 140 in one bank account. Please tell me when are athletes and people of position of power going to take their money and say, hey, we got enough knowledge, we got enough money. Instead of linking with these bigger corporations, why don't we take our money and build our own factory pipeline? Hey, there's a whole continent of Africa with 1 billion people. I'm pretty sure we can network, start a pipeline over there fairly pay them, not exploit them, but fairly play them, since we are the culture. Doesn't he scream, we are the culture, we make culture, we give culture? When are we going to start acting like it? It's one thing to partner with Adidas and Gap and all these brands, and I get it, you get that bag, but at what point are we going to take control of the narrative? So that's where I'm looking at him at. You think it's power because you got signed from Adidas and you was worth $1 billion? What kind of power do you have when a Forbes came out and he said like half of his net worth is now, he's no longer a billionaire? Because he was holding on to that billionaire status.
Yeah.
He was getting out, yeah, I'm a billionaire. Forbes should have been did this. I'm a billionaire. What kind of power you have now?
No.
Now you're way richer than me. I got negative $2 in my bank account, so I'm not hating. You're way richer than me. But that shows you where is he at in the quote unquote power structure. That shows you how much your money matters. This is why I don't feel sorry for him. You fucked around and you found out. Now you're losing everything. And don't see, people want to point the finger back at us because we're looking at him saying, well, he made his bed now. Either figure it out or you're going to be fucked in a couple years. Don't wish bad on the brother. He said slavery was a choice. My people from Mississippi. I gotta.
How could you even let that slide out of your mouth?
My family from Mississippi. I know more than basic Black American history, and I study very well on what happened to us. So hearing him say that, as big as he is, like it's one thing if a regular person say it, but when you have somebody of Kanye West status saying it, you got 1 million people on Instagram and TikTok making videos. Yeah, you just ain't smart enough to think like him. Slavery was a choice, really. Do you know how many slave rebellions there were?
Yeah.
From the time that we were brought over from the Portuguese first to the Caribbean islands, from the time we got off them boats, we've been rebelling. Some successful, some unsuccessful. The comment is pure idiotic, and it gives way to other people saying, well, slavery wasn't that bad. Look what Kanye West said. Yeah. I guess y'all should have figured y'all conditions out a few hundred years earlier. What you blaming us for? So I don't feel sorry for anything he's going through.
Well, I don't feel bad for what he's going through. I don't feel bad for those companies.
Two things can be true.
Yeah, I don't feel bad.
I feel you on that.
I don't care what they mad about. I don't care what they mad what he said. Y'all ain't saying nothing when he said slavery choice. Y'all stood right there and brought him right back in those doors and said, yo, what you gonna do with these designs? You did nothing. So don't tell me because he's spreading his hate all of a sudden. He did it on his own people when y'all took it in. Let this be a lesson to y'all artists and to the Black culture. That's what they think of us. That's what the message I got out of all of this. I didn't get anything else out of this but that. That was the most decent. How? And then the White Lives Matter. What the hell is wrong with him? What's wrong with you? I mean, just come on, son. Come on.
You're listening to, and I don't want to say the name because
yeah, she's a clown.
No. These people, when their back's against the wall and they're dead wrong, that's when they start suing for defamation. So I'm not even gonna mention the name, but everybody knows who we're talking about. Miss Conservative over there. You listen to these left. And again, you could be a free thinker. I'm not telling nobody you can't lean left, you can't lean right, or spin around in a circle and agree with who you want. But I'm going to say again, I know my history as a Black American. I know my history as far as chattel slavery. That way he's doing, all that's going to do when people look at us, at our conditions, is going to say, well, that billionaire said you had a choice. That billionaire is saying, look, I'm wearing a White Lives Matter shirt, and this is what I'm saying. We should have held his ass accountable, as well as them companies like you saying, and he should have been got out the paint. But
can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
He's the most, the sympathetic side, the one little sympathy part I do have, he's sick. And he needs help. And until he gets it, you're going to keep seeing this. And what the sad part about it is, I mean, the conservatives, they're going to keep using it. I mean, for him to say the white man is discriminating, I'm like, my God, man, I can't with this guy. I just wish he would go away. I just wish he would go away. You just
can't when you have that much money, eh?
You know what I mean? Oh, well, he'll run out soon. He'll run out.
And here's the thing.
Because you done offended a group that, and see, this is what, and I keep hearing about this. This is what, I'm not going to keep it longer. This is what I keep hearing, like with, I never forgot Farrakhan said something. He made a good point. He said, you know, it's funny. They always want us to forgive them. He said, you ever seen when Jewish people, when they get offended, how forgiving they are? You could jump through hoops and they still looking at you like, no, you need to try harder. So that's what we seeing with him. That's the point he's making. The minute it was about degrading their people or their culture, they cut all ties. And it wasn't just Def Jam cutting him from the label. It was the banks. It was basically more the media, other than the
you know what's the newest one that just popped up?
In the fashion world. Everything
Can I add
that
something?
anything that
You're
people
missing one key point.
What?
The Donda Academy just closed.
That's crazy.
All them kids.
That's crazy.
And then they trying to spin it saying, oh, he's opening it back up. He's doing something different. No, it reported the principal, the owners send a letter to the parents who are paying $15,000 in tuition on an unaccredited school. Allegedly, I think it's unaccredited. Who has some 3- and 4-star athletes there that they're closing their doors. What are you going to tell them kids that look like us? Homeboy Darnold, I think it's Darnold. That was what his agency left. Jaylen Brown left. So
yeah,
now
you're talking about Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald, my bad. Aaron Donald dropped.
So education wise, fashion wise, music wise, bank wise, financial wise, cut all ties, and none of them look like us at the head. So what does that tell you? It's kind of like a good thing we saw this, but it's just bad in the way that it's had to happen. And people have been saying it for years. Just ain't nobody gonna say it because it sounds like it's like hateful, but it's a thing of like, well, we don't really own it. So when he did, listen to what I'm saying. When he said that slavery was a choice, what did we own that we said, yo, we ain't dealing with you no more? We didn't own a sneaker company that he was coming into the doors and say, yo, don't come back in here.
Hey,
that's what I'm trying to say to you.
Yeah, you're right.
So on all platforms and levels, the minute it came about who really owns it, then it became a problem. Is when it was us, we ain't had no problem.
What did Dame Dash been telling us for 20 years?
Facts.
I'm silently speaking into the mic because I've been following hip hop for so long, but I'm a big Dame Dash fan.
Yeah.
What did Dame Dash say when you want to look at the owner who's putting up the money?
That's what matters.
This is what I'm saying. So I'm not. It's like this to me. Before we close out, this is why I brought up his age. This is why I brought up his experience, and I brought up his money. If you wanted to feel like this and be in this lane, then you should have him and other people. Because I don't want to just pit one person. When you're over a million or 5 million or 10 million liquid, you have the power to independently fund everything you want to do, from production to manufacturing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not seeing these multi-millionaire black actors and athletes who have $10 and $20 million liquid saying, hey, we're about to link up in South America, Central America, the Caribbeans, or on the continent of Africa and start our own manufacturing company. Please tell me. Maybe I'm missing somebody.
No,
maybe there's somebody under the table that I'm just not playing 4D underwater chess and not seeing their hidden moves. When are you, if you want power, when are you going to act like you want the power? But instead, black capitalism is a hell of a drug. I'm going to keep saying that in every podcast. When we look at these black capitalists playing in this house, trying to disassemble the house through black capitalism, and it's not working, and you're shitting on your people at the same time. And then once they throw the hammer down, now you're looking back saying, guys, don't you got my back? I'm black like you.
Facts. Super facts. He's in trouble, man. That's all I can say. And he got kids, and he ain't thinking about them. I know that for a fact. Not acting like this, he ain't.
Well, we got a lot more to say, but this was a short podcast. We went a little over an hour. We got a lot of stuff coming up content-wise. Basketball season is approaching, so we got multiple conferences that we're going to be covering. So we got the American East, the CAA, the ACC. So you're going to see a lot of basketball content on the collegiate level. The tail end of football. Got some hip-hop stuff. We got some fashion stuff. We got some adult entertainment stuff. Just stay tuned. Like, we're covering all. Enveonline is covering all, man.
Right.
So everybody that's been rocking with us, we appreciate you. Salute to our engineer that make all this possible.
Facts. My man.
Keep tuning in. Enveonline. Deshaun Jones, a.k.a. Son of a Jones, man.
CEO of NBA, Zard Johnson. Stay tuned.
We out.